Hey, this is Stacy from Let's Cook, y'all. Welcome back to our channel. If you're new, welcome. We're really glad you're here. We hope you'll enjoy the content on our channel and you'll consider hitting that red subscribe button. We're back with a brand new week of some easy and delicious meals. For the first meal this week, I had some Yukon Gold potatoes that I needed to use, so I cut them into fairly thin slices. I had got online and Googled for a recipe to use these in a smaller recipe, cooking for two. The recipe I found, I'll leave a link to. It was an oven-baked recipe, and I did try to make these in my West Bend slow cooker rather than the oven, and that's about the thickness that I tried to get them. In a saucepan, I melted 2 tablespoons of butter. And once that had melted down, I incorporated 2 tablespoons of flour. We're just building a basic roux. Then I slowly streamed in about 1 cup of milk. My sweet mama would have called this a white sauce. Years of watching Food Network or Food TV, I now call this a bechamel. The recipe calls for a half a teaspoon of salt and a 1/4 teaspoon of ground black pepper, but I did use white because it is a white sauce. And I deviated from the recipe. I added a little bit of Tabasco or hot sauce for Tim. Got that mixed together. The recipe calls for 1/4 cup of a shredded cheese. I just used what I had open, 2 good handfuls, and then incorporated that. I did add some black pepper and some Worcestershire sauce. I tasted it and adjusted it, added a little bit more Tabasco. Nice and thick and cheesy. I got out my West Bend slow cooker and took the slices of Yukon Gold potatoes and kind of laid them out. You would do this in a casserole dish to go in the oven if you were sticking to the original recipe. Lay out the potato slices, cover it with the bechamel or the cheese sauce. In the oven, this bakes at 375 for 25 minutes covered and 20 minutes uncovered. The recipe where I got this from is an oven recipe from food.com. You would bake it in an oven. I'm going to try it in my little West Bend, which is sort of a cross between a slow cooker and a regular cooker. It tends to get a little hotter. It's a really thin pan and it's resting right on a griddle. Gonna put them, if anybody has a West Bend, I know my sister and I do, I put them on about 3.5. I'll cover them and start checking them every 20 or 30 minutes and see how they're doing. Hopefully I won't have to take them out and put them in the oven. Mine are cooking really well. They are already plenty soft and I'm kind of moving them around. That's the beauty of this slow cooker. The taste, I meant to put onions in them and I forgot. The taste is a little light for us, so I'm going to add in a little bit of onion powder and garlic powder and probably a little bit more salt because potatoes love salt. And then closer to time when I'm ready to serve them, here in about 20-30 minutes, I'm going to put probably a little more cheese on top. I may go off the rails and put some of these French fried onions on top. That will work better in the oven. Since I'm still working on my freezer, I took this out to pork tenderloin to cook. Yes, I know I'm mixing flavors. This is teriyaki, but it works for us. I sprayed the basket really well. I'm going to put it in at 400 and flip it about halfway. I think it's going to take about 20 minutes and get an instant read thermometer out. It needs to be about 145 or 150. Towards the end, I topped the potatoes with some of these French fried onions. I had chopped up some yellow squash and onion that I had in my refrigerator that needed using. Added those to a big skillet that I had heated, put some olive oil in, seasoned them with salt, pepper, and some of the Trader Joe's 21 seasoning salute. The pork tenderloin took about 20 minutes in the air fryer, and then I let it rest about 5 minutes and then cut into it.
Looks pretty good.
Sucker's juicy. Look at all the juice.
Mm-hmm.
Yay! This is a meal born out of using what we have. It doesn't probably go together as well as a well-composed meal, but we're rolling with what we've got. I did a pork tenderloin in the air fryer. I sauteed some zucchini and onions on the stove, and I tried the new recipe. We'll leave a comment and see if the cheesy scallop potatoes or potatoes au gratin worked in the crock pot or my little West Bend. We did put the little crunchy French fried onions on top because you don't get that same crunch that you do in the oven. We'll fix our plates. Pork and sides is what's for dinner today. What's for dinner today is a particular favorite of mine. I always have the ingredients on hand. I start by mixing up a little homemade barbecue sauce that has ketchup, maple syrup, Dijon, Worcestershire, lemon juice, chili powder, and some garlic powder in it. And I'll leave a link to the recipe. We have shown this before. You can buy bottled barbecue sauce, but this is so much better. I promise it's worth the effort. You can definitely use a regular crock pot, but I still had my little West Bend out from using it the day before. Mine is so old, the little non-stick coating on the pan is worn off, so I always spray it with some spray. You put in some chicken breasts. Mine were actually still frozen. I seasoned them really well with some salt and pepper, and I did use some Mrs. Dash, and then added the homemade barbecue sauce.
Cover and cook until the chicken is done and shreddable, whatever it takes in your crock pot. In my little West Bend cooker, this will probably take about 3 hours.
As a side dish to go with the maple barbecue chicken, I decided to take 1 cup of shell pasta and boil it, and I made a very quick pasta salad using what I had on hand. Today I diced up some pickles, some carrots, some cubed cheddar cheese, some black olives, a whole lot of red onion. I also added some crumbled goat cheese because I had it, some bacon bits from a big bag from Sam's Club. Got that all mixed together. I mixed up some homemade ranch, you could use bottled, and then seasoned it with salt, pepper, and some of this Morton's Nature Seasoning. I got all that mixed together and then slowly started adding in the ranch. I find you don't need as much as you think, so I never dump it all in to begin with. When the chicken breasts were cooked, I took them out, put them in a bowl, took 2 forks and shredded them. They shred really easy when they come out. I put them back in and cover them, mix them up well in the sauce.
I did the maple barbecue chicken in the crock pot, made some pasta salad. I'm gonna go ahead and eat. Tim will fix his plate when he gets here. He may need chips. I just did half a sandwich with, I'm gonna put my calories on the pasta salad and carb load and some grapes. So barbecue chicken sandwiches, pasta salad, and chips is what's for dinner today. Today is a busy day, so it seemed like a good day to do charcuterie. I'd been wanting to do it. We did it a couple months ago. Basically, cheese and crackers and fruit and a little bit of meat. So I thought these were jellies. I think that's a smoked Gouda, cheddar, an artichoke bruschetta, goat cheese, crackers, some grapes and strawberries, a couple kinds of meat, pepperoni and roast beef or pastrami, and some smoked almonds and these little meat and, oops, -1 pepperoni, meat and cheese things that we've got. Someone is hungry and ready to eat. Charcuterie in our house is what's for dinner. If there's anything left to take a picture of, charcuterie is what's for dinner today. Gotta melt some butter in my 8x8 Pyrex while the oven is preheating. For the biscuits, I'm going to mix together 2 cups of all-purpose baking mix, or Biscuit. It's a half a cup of sour cream and 6 tablespoons of Sprite. This is an extremely wet batter. I'm just going to plop it into the pan with the melted butter. It's extremely wet and goopy. I combine the sour cream with the Biscuit first. And then this is about 6 tablespoons of Sprite. You could use 7-Up, you could use ginger ale. It comes together really quick, and it's going to be very wet and goopy. That's a lot of butter. I think it was 3 tablespoons, and that's plenty to coat the bottom. We'll save a little bit of this and brush over the tops when they come out to give them a nice sheen on the top. That is plenty of butter, and that's why these are so good, between the butter and the sour cream. Just be careful, it's a very hot pan, it's been in the oven. These bake at 425 until they're done. In my oven they take about 15 minutes, maybe 20. I think it's 15. Go check my recipe. Like I said, it's very wet. We're just going to try to smoosh it and go with it.
I found these maple pork sausage links on sale at Kroger, so it seemed a good time to do breakfast for dinner. If you're a new subscriber, or even if you're a long-term subscriber, you probably already know Tim loves a biscuit. It is definitely the way to that man's heart.
Tim's pretty much over the moon that I made him biscuits and sausage and eggs. He is 30 seconds out. I'll try to get a picture of his plate. He will probably do butter, and he likes this Blackburn's biscuit syrup. We do not use the one that has pancakes or waffles on the front. That's pancake syrup. He's very particular about his syrup. So breakfast is what's for dinner today.
It's that time again. We meet every month with my Sunday school class. The ladies get together to celebrate. Somebody's got to have a birthday this month. I always take some pictures of some of the ladies there. I missed some of them this time. We went to a new place for me. I started off with a Caesar salad, and then I got some grilled redfish. I panned around and got a few of the ladies at my table. This was crab cakes over fried green tomatoes, and my friend Chris also got the redfish, and it was delicious. My friend Marilyn got the stuffed portobello mushrooms. My friend Joanne got the fried oysters, and we had a wonderful time of fellowship. I wasn't up to cooking a big meal after I got back. Poor Tim, he misses out on the good lunch, and then he gets a little quick supper. I made some hot ham and cheese sandwiches.
Going really light and easy. I made some hot... Why don't you go diagonal?
You don't want to make a tea out of it?
Oh, God. Made some hot ham and cheese sandwiches. I've still got to do mine. Let's see if it got hot enough, if the cheese melted in the middle. If it needs to go back.
Looks pretty good.
Tim's got a big salad and his choice of salad dressing. I got a salad and some cucumbers. I got some goat. We did this salad with goat cheese and walnuts, and just packaged ham and cheese. Sandwiches and salads is what's for dinner today.
This is a little lanyard, a little something extra. This was on my phone and not on my regular YouTube camera. We went to lunch a while back at a new place to us for brunch. After church on Sunday, I had the American omelet with some risotto cakes and smoked bacon. Tim had the chicken acuto, which had black beans and salsa and grilled artichokes. Our friend Bobby had chicken marsala, and his wife Linda had the same thing. I did the American omelet with the risotto cakes, which were really good, and the smoked bacon, and we had a lovely time. And another bonus, I made some cookies to take to a sweet friend of mine who had had some surgery. These are already on our website. These are called coffee house cookies. I'll leave a link to my recipe, just the basic ingredients that you use for cookies, plus both M&Ms and chocolate chips. The first thing you want to do is soften a stick of butter and then cream it with the brown sugar. Then add a teaspoon of vanilla and 1 egg and mix that well with the hand mixer. Then you want to add in a half a teaspoon each of baking soda and salt. And then 1.5 cups of all-purpose flour, and get that all mixed. It will be a very thick batter. Then to make these coffee house or extra good, you add 1 cup of semi-sweet chocolate chips and 1 cup or a little more of M&Ms.
If you use a 1/4 cup measure, you'll end up with just a dozen really large cookies. I make them smaller just using my scoop. I don't know what size this is. And it doesn't say. So I usually get about 16 to 18 smaller cookies. I get 16, 8 per tray. And whatever you do, don't flatten them out. They will flatten quite a bit. I try to leave them mound up as high as I can get them, and they will flatten in about 12 or 13 minutes in my oven. Every oven's different. They may take 13 or 14 or 15 in yours, but they're usually done in about 12 or 13 in mine.
And hot out of the oven, these coffee house cookies are so good. You should definitely try these. Thanks so much for stopping by and watching. Take care. Have a wonderful and truly blessed day.